I think from an alternate attacks perspective, and it does potentially look as though they will get their choice as they now find themselves in a 3-on-2. I think it's almost a no-brainer. I think these guys have to start out on terrorist side. We actually just saw them obviously have a great terrorist half against Team Orgless on Cache, but I think more importantly for me, it's been their CT half on Overpass that has been their downfall in the past. So I think having that opportunity to potentially get off to a stronger start and get some rounds on the board first and then try and close out the match might be an easier prospect. As it was, they have chosen to start out on CT, so maybe they'll try and prove me wrong here. Orgless will, I guess, by virtue and by process of elimination, they will start out on the terror side here. We'll see how well they can fare on Overpass. Of course, the second map in tonight's BO2 encounter. The second of 5 counterpit matches tonight, so we're in for the long haul, Jim. I've got my scrim blanket on. It's quite cold, Jim. I do have the aircon on, that's a fair point. Just to clarify, that's not Fahrenheit, which would be cold, that was Celsius. But in any case, we will now go live. Alternate attack starting out on CT side. So Stefan, Crispy, Tizian, Kiev, and Kazua will be the defenders to start off this match up against Witten, Maeve, Dead Fox, Barbar, and Flash. You can see at the moment 3 terrorists making their way towards that B monster canal. 2 of the terrorists are actually streaming up towards A though, so it's a bit of a fake perhaps, but Kiev and Tizian and Stefan all of a sudden in the blink of an eye ripped the head off 3 of the Orgless Warriors, and despite potentially being outplayed in the sense that they weren't quite sure where the attack was coming, they've certainly made ends meet as their pistols have connected onto the heads of Team Orgless, continuing what was a really strong performance on Cache. And similar vein here as Stefan proves that being blind is no obstacle to fragging. Great work there by Alternate. Jim, I'm hearing that your mic is potentially muted. I'm not sure if that is confirmed or not.
I'm not too sure. Don't think it is.
I hope for the viewer's sake it is. It's almost a much more enjoyable experience when they can't hear
unless
you.
I bump my mixer, I'm not too sure.
Okay, well, continue in any case, but maybe just keep an eye on Twitch chat.
I don't generally keep an eye on Twitch chat, but nonetheless, they are streaming in. Orgless have actually bought into this round. They do have some Tech 9s. I'm going to try and roll the Tech 9 train down towards the A site, and Kiev is there, ready, waiting. Does pick up 2 frags. His teammate Crispy is supporting him well there, covering the other angle. Does pick up 2 frags of his own with that UMP. Tizian finding the last frag. And 2-0 the score to Team Alternate. Of course, Orgless not able to buy into this round at all.
An interesting little storyline to throw over this match is the fact that whilst Alternate looked so strong on the previous map, in their 3 previous counterpit matches, they actually haven't won any of those matches 2-0, despite winning the first map on some occasions. So they've had difficulty closing out encounters, perhaps in a similar vein to the fact that they had difficulty closing out that Cache map earlier on tonight. But at the moment, they've started off really strong. You can see they're pushing for those SMG kills, but Flash just sitting in the back there with the Glock. I think he put about 15 bullets into Tizian before he went down in the end, but the 60's unable to retaliate. So really strange opening to the round. Kazura does restore some order there as he gets the first frag, and potentially has a few more in store as the remaining 4 terrorists are actually in that door connector. Moving away from Kazua, I think that they've sensed that that P90 might be too hot to handle at the moment.
Very, very hot to handle. As they're going to make their way into this A site. The Glocks are just going to try and stream into A here. Kiev is waiting with that MP9. It's just darting around the bomb boxes and find the first frag. Looking for the second. Does drop that bomb. Very difficult now. He finds the triple, felling the bomb. Full eco coming out. Good discipline, I guess, from Orgless there. Just not really buying too much into that round, but as you said, didn't really give himself a chance to do any damage to the CT economy there.
Yeah, see, I don't mind that. I mean, that's inconsequential for me. What I don't like is the fact they actually just fed Kiev 3 frags with that SMG. He's the player that was on point last map. He's the player that we singled out as the strong AWP in the team, and he's now been fed so much cash, so much Skrilla. You can see he is, at the moment, does have that AWP in hand, but he's actually positioned towards the A stairwell, actually going for that aggressive pick to start off the round. He will now back off, but I don't like, Jim, the fact that they've just fed him, of all people, some money.
Right, he's making that dank bank, and now is easily able to afford that AWP as a result, so he's certainly been boosted in confidence as well. That certainly boosted a lot of confidence, getting those frags early on in such a crucial map and a crucial stage, but it's a shot there in mid, and the terrorists are starting to try and wrestle back some some map territory here. Good job from the counter terrorists early on, really slowing things down and not allowing the terrorists to just charge wherever they please.
Okay, now this is the important time for me. We can see the terrorists at the moment with 1 minute left making their way back towards B. This was the area of the game in which we said Alternate have struggled in the past on Overpass, holding down the B site, particularly late in rounds as the T's go to execute. We'll see how well they do. You can see Quitten will now throw and lob a few flashes into that site. There's a teammate nearby to do the same thing, and Maeve does connect there onto the head of Tizian. So unfortunately, it looks as though history is repeating here for Alternate attacks in this B bomb site. Flash doing a good job of getting that second frame. Crispy goes eye to eye with Barbar, eventually deciding that he will fall, opting not to really get a bullet or two off. But at the moment, Kazua and Crispy doing a fantastic job of making ends meet. This 2-on-4 they've converted into a 2-on-1. It's all left up to Flash, the Hungarian captain at the moment, to try and hold off this retake. He's positioned well, actually, in the pit, but Kazua will catch him off guard. Great work there. Great retake. 2 versus 4. That should have been a round that Orgless closed out, though. I don't know how they let that slide.
That P90 just charging through, picking up 2 frags on the flank, and, well, they're going to be kicking themselves there, Orgless, because that really shouldn't have been around for Alternate at all. They had the bomb site, they had the plant, they had the number advantage, but the post plant is what let them down.
A 4-on-2 situation for a team that's been struggling all night to find rounds is not going to bode well for you in the context of the match. You can see that at the moment it's just feeding confidence and money to Team Alternate. They will now find themselves up against another buy, given the fact that Orgless had planted in the previous round. They can afford to get the weapons. But what I did like, Jim, in the CT play last round to begin the round was the fact that they actually went quite aggressive and backed off. A map like Overpass really lends itself a lot to that, as we see the T's making their way through toilets at the moment. So many different choke points and angles allow CTs to almost change their position that they play really effectively, particularly with an open hand. Keeve, speaking of which, actually has that all 3 CTs and A mind is spotting long at the moment. So curious CT setup, but for good reason, given the T's are in that direction.
Well, they were climbing over one another to try and get the frags there. That's how confident Alternate are with the way that they're playing at the moment. But the T's are ready to go. Kazuya does a little bit of damage, tapping through that smoke. Barbar cops the brunt of it. Now these AKs and Galil are going to stream onto the site. Crispy, though, has decent position to potentially get the flank here as Barbar swindles through that smoke, makes his way straight down the bank. So good position from him already. Keeve does a lot of damage, potentially even getting a collateral frag there, but Stefan eliminates Barbar there, and now Maeve has to go 1-on-2. He needs to collect the bomb and plant it here. Fakes that plant, tries to draw out the CTs to flash, though. Will mean that he has to check his flank. That Molotov doesn't quite do the job. The bomb that goes down anyway. He's going to have to go 1-on-1 here in the site. Stefan, great work there, just distracting poor old Maeve, and is flanked completely by Tizian. The tactical pause has already come in too from Orgless. So, warning signs already.
Yeah, good work by Tizian on the flank there. You actually saw him running and jumping quite often. That was to try and mask the footstep noises, of course, when you're in the air half the time, not making as many footsteps. But what I liked from the CT perspective, the most telling thing that I've seen all night about how confident they are and about how hungry they are to get this victory. They know that their Counterpit season campaign rests on getting a win tonight. Was that instance there at Long where you had 3 CTs jumping over each other, as you said, playing leapfrog, trying to get the frags. That wasn't because they were caught off guard. It wasn't as though all of a sudden the T's had swamped them at Long and they were scrambling trying to find their spots. No, that was because they were desperate to get in there and make the frags. They wanted the opportunity to get rid of the T's and eliminate them before their teammates had. And it really just shows how into this match Alternate are and how switched on they are. And I really like seeing them play like this.
Yeah, they're a formidable force when they play like this, and this is good. This is what we wanted to see from Alternate. They're finally starting to reap the benefits of playing, I guess, a longer team strategy. Not really, I guess some teams are prone to this, shuffling players and lineups in order to find that combination. They've worked it out with their players that they've got and are starting to build a good team chemistry, and as you can see, reaping some rewards.
Yeah, the person I actually want to give a lot of credit to in that domain, I mean, in particular, the fact that they've seemed so rejuvenated and are doing a great job tonight of really shutting down Orgless in every capacity, is actually not the in-game leader. Crispy, of course, I'll be referring to. It's actually Kazua. Now, they actually have a really interesting dynamic in the team where they also almost share those roles, where Crispy does all the calling in game, but it's actually Kazua who does all that hard work outside of the game. He's that strategic leader, when it comes to developing strategies, analyzing demos, preparing for matches and opponents. He does all that hard work outside the game to try and put Trisby in a position in-game to make the right calls and make the right reads. He puts in so much time and work, and really happy to see the fact that Alternate Attacks have made those adjustments in their gameplay. I think that's a real testament to the hard work of not just Trizua, but also his teammates there who are executing these, I guess, the information that's been fed through to Trisby. Really happy to see these guys playing so well, and the unpause will now come in. It looks as though Orgless here, again, forcing the issue, Jim.
Yeah, they are going to force the issue here, and obviously the buy comes out. Now, as you said, it's good always to have that second person in the team that really understands the in-depth measures of the strategy, so that's really paying dividends for ATAX. But from Orgless, we see some B pressure coming out here and sending members down through the underpass towards that B side, or should I say the connector. Witten, though, is just waiting with Dead Fox there through the monster tunnel. That flash does pop in, and they're going to pincer this B site quite heavily. The smoke and connector mean that Baba isn't able to get in just yet. Keeve takes the first, Stefan finds the second, and now this B attack is being absolutely stifled by the CT defense. Witten, though, good chance to get a triple here. He doesn't, unfortunately, find that frag as he only gets one. Great work there from May, supporting his teammate well. That bomb unfortunately hasn't gone down yet, but they are just taking these jewels and coming out victorious. But Baba does get flanked, and poor old Maeve here has to contend with a 1 versus 3. Doesn't really have the position to do so, though.
The bomb is down in front of him as well, whilst the fact that Trizua is quite low. There still are 2 other CTs to contend with, who are in a great position as well to get the drop onto him. You can see Keeve up there in heaven. And as Maeve crab walks his way around there towards that monster pit, it will be Keeve who gets the job done. And the man who started off that round, Keeve, gets the final frag in a fitting fashion. But really impressed by Alternate. Their rotations are on point at the moment as well. It just seems when you're watching the CT play at the moment that there's almost like a wall of 5 members at a bomb site, regardless of what site Orgless are choosing to hit. It's as though there's this endless stream of CTs there to back up their teammates, and you saw that site. They never really had control of the site, did they? From Orgless' perspective, they were always fighting battles.
That's right. They were, as you say, never in control, and that's probably the theme that's been occurring here. Is Keeve finds first frag, looks for the second on Dead Fox, and they're just lining up for him. As he doesn't quite find that third. A little bit of pressure coming in with that Tech 9. Needs to change with 5-7. He's supported by his teammate quite well. Does find that frag regardless. So he's already picked up a triple for the round and smartly falls back into the site.
This man is an absolute weapon. We said he'd been on form in previous counterpit games, and despite that those frags were onto an ecoing terrorist team in the form of Orgless, they were still sharp kills, and he's been sharp all night. He's picked up a triple, and like you said, he has backed off now, but the potential for more is very real as Witten decides that why not take that long-range Deagle battle, but maybe having second thoughts now as he does back off to Mabe, but you can see that in a moment they're going to be greeted with the friendly, smiling face of Tizian, the assassin. Gets the first, Kizua then gets the second. Another round going Alternate's way, 7-0 they lead, and this just has so many similar storylines and parallels that we can draw between this and the first map in Case, where Alternate got off to a blistering start and really put the match beyond doubt before the first half was even over.
Right, with Orgless constantly chasing down deficits, never really in control of the match, and that's a recurring theme, as we said. First frag goes the way of Baba, so Keeve taking an aim duel there, getting aggressive, and this is a good start for they needed this sort of start, but they need to capitalise because, well, as we've seen from Alternate, their site defenses have just been so all-like, as Baba finds a second frag there, so Kazuya pushing through Park, not getting the intended outcome, and now 3 versus 5.
Well, that's right. You can see from a CT perspective, there's actually no one on the A-bomb side at the moment, so they're scrambling to try and put some forces over there to try and have some sort of resistance potentially late round as the T's slowly make their way up to the courts, and Long Tizian doing a good job of actually catching off the lurker. Flash has been taken down, the Hungarian player. And as the T's ever so slightly move up and inch towards that A-bomb site, the flank is real actually, so Crisby gets a lot of information. It's important that Stefan can potentially try and slow down this A attack here, as Crisby is on the flank. He has a great opportunity to try and catch a few members off guard here, but as it is, the T's, they're not waiting for him as they do make their way into the site. Eventually, Crisby steps, gets one, gets a double as well before getting taken down, so couldn't quite get his quota there, couldn't help but feel. Good job by Orgless making that round work for them, 7-1.
Great job by Baba getting in with the first 2 picks, the first 2 entries, and with a triple for the round. So he justified why he was tasked with buying that orb, at least in a sense that he was able to get those opening frags. It's important now that they capitalise here, their money is going to be reset.
But when I think about what they did in that round, they didn't really do anything. It was just Barbar trying to find a way to get frags. In the end, it will be Kiev just replicating that success of Barbar in the previous round, and all of a sudden, as Kazua gets flashed there with that nice double boost, despite a frag from Barbar, it looks as though, again, their backs are against the wall in this instance. So, apart from that individual moment of brilliance there by Barbar in the previous round to really open up the exchange, it's been all the way of alternate attacks, and as they back off now and solidify their site defenses, alternate really are in a prime position here to convert this round and reset the economy of Team Orgless.
That they are, so 4 versus 3 and really no map territory at all. Orgless, they are forced to try and claw their way across the A site here, and ATAC's just content to let them make the next move because they're in a position of power. They've got the man advantage here, and this, as we've seen before, no real need for them to push unnecessarily because that's where teams get caught out. We saw, funnily enough, it's exactly what Orgless were doing in many instances on Cache. So, Witten will try and get something happening here towards that A site, and as we see, that bomb is making its way towards A. 30 seconds remain.
It's going to be Crispy who has the first sight potentially onto Orgless. He has 2 members actually making their way up mid, and he's actually just swindling in the smoke at the moment, which does happen to dissipate. So he's done a great job of actually repositioning himself in the toilets while Squidden is trying to make his way onto the A side. All of a sudden, they're going to be caught with their pants down as it is Crispy that we speak of. He does drop the first. He actually only manages to get 1 in the end, so actually a little bit disappointing, the end result there. Not quite matching his expectations, given the fact they've had all 3 with their backs turned. Barbar does connect there onto Stefan, but Tizian ultimately takes him down, recovers the orb, and heads on over ever so casually to defuse that bomb. Lord Gaben, as we said, has given him plenty of time to do so, and alternate attacks, not for the first time this evening, Jim, have reset the economy of Orgless. Orgless have struggled to string together multiple rounds all night, and again, they find themselves in that same predicament.
The worst part is, too, it's so late in, or starting to get later into the half. So having your economy reset in the first 3 or 4 rounds is not as big an issue as it is having it reset in what was the 9th round, and now we're running into the 10th. Speaking
of issues, their star player at the moment, Dead Fox, doesn't have a frag on the scoreboard. We said he was the man who had performed so well for them recently, particularly in the Uprise Champions Cup, the Sevo placement comp. He was their go-to man, and he's struggling to make ends meet at the moment. Barbar has been really their man all night. He's been the only one to actually connect with some headshots. Again, he gets an opening frag, but Tizian, blinking, you'll miss it. He's already got 2 for himself whilst he does go down. Eventually, his teammates are still in a strong position here, but Whitson gets his second, so all of a sudden, having recovered that M4A4 with the bomb now getting planted, Orgless have made something of this eco round. You can see they now find themselves in a 2-on-2, but shows a little bit too much skin there as Keith capitalises from heaven, showing that sometimes bad things do happen from heaven. Bit of an oxymoron in that instance, but all of a sudden, Maeve has it all to do now. He is positioned below Keith. I'm not sure if Keith was expecting that. He wasn't. Kazua certainly is, as Maeve makes his presence known. He will get that frag, will get that defuse, and alternate attacks successfully navigate what was a dicey anti-eco round.
Dicey is probably the best that, but as you said, their economy was reset as a result of getting that plant and getting quite a few frags. They've actually been able to buy into this next round, so the situation isn't as dire as it first was. So for the first time, we see alternate attacks' impenetrable wall actually crumbled in this instant. The Orgless with a very, very passive start to this round.
What are they doing? Wow. I mean, I understand the intent here is clearly to wait for any sort of CT aggression, but passive is an understatement as the T's have barely even made their way up the stairs. They're so tentative with that push from Kiev, and like we said, Overpass is one of those maps, isn't it, where any sort of sign or hint of CT aggression in previous rounds really has a flow-on effect and keeps the T's so tentative and scared in future rounds. I think that's a perfect illustration as T's barely moving out of spawn. They're that scared of the presence of Kiev with the AWP here, and as it is, you can see that Kiev will actually be at long, and why not connect? Actually gets the first and tags, the second does connect in the end with Barbar, proving that it does take 2 bullets to kill him in his current frame of mind, but in the end, they should rightly have been scared of Kiev, but it wasn't that A push, it was perhaps that standard A setup catching them off guard.
Right, and that elevated position, giving him an absolute advantage there. Tizian does take down Flash, and they recognise that there's got to be a second player in there in order for him to be boosted in the connector. And now, 2 versus 5, Orgless, familiar position on the back foot, forced to try and make something happen. Poor old Maeve and Dead Fox make their way towards this A here through the toilets, but Kiev is waiting in a very arrogant position, and it's probably the best way to put it there. That Molotov forces him to fall back, but making it work. He does find his third for the round, and does tag Dead Fox a little bit, but what a round from him. Absolutely going ham.
I think I was just thinking there for a moment while you're talking. I'm going to throw this out there. I think that Overpass is probably the hardest map to play against a team whose AWPer is on point and is comfortable. There's just that many different angles and different styles of play for an AWP, be it aggressive, passive, somewhere in between. Play at A, play at B, play at the stairs. There's just so much versatility, and Kiev is really exploiting that fact at the moment, doing a fantastic job. He does split out a few oncoming Ts though, with that quasi-buy coming out, the tech armor. Wreck armor, as it could be referred to. Crisby does a good job of supporting his teammate who needed a little bit of help in that instance. And AWP can only do so much, and certainly done a lot tonight, but in that instance, he needed his experienced head in the form of Crisby to help him out. Good job by Alternate Attacks navigating a dangerous start to that round.
Dangerous start indeed. Now, Alternate Attacks have taken a lot of damage here on Crisby and I believe Kiev, so playing from the site here, Baba does fall. Zuya, who's looking for Huitin, takes him down to 50 HP, but the bomb does fall there. Huitin giving it up, and now Maeve a long way away from his teammate here at the top of the connector stairs, and they're just pushing unrelentlessly. Takes him down quite easily there. 11-1 the score, and this is just mirror of what happened on Cache.
Yeah, I just want to add some context as well. I know that we said beforehand that Alternate Attacks had actually lost their previous 3 matches in really horrible fashion on Overpass. I refuse to believe that in the space of about 1 or 2 weeks, despite all the hard work of Crisby and Kazua, that they've actually made all these sort of miracle changes which would allow them now to be thrashing Orgless. I think at the moment what we're seeing is potentially just a reflection of Orgless playing actually quite poor Counter-Strike, as much as that saddens me to say. They're playing really individualistic, which was that same word and I guess key describing feature that I used on Cache, Baba. They're connecting onto Stefan to square the ledger at 4 apiece. But for me, they're just almost walking into sites. There's no real intent from the terrorist. Even now, you look at the overlay, you can see one member still back in T-spawn, despite the fact that his teammates are ready to execute onto B. So at the moment, I'm a little bit disappointed with the lackluster performance from Orgless. I hope that they can string together a few rounds here now to try and make something of it, potentially in the second half. Have that buffer zone to play with. And now have a minute left in this round to make something of it.
They are attempting to just get the picks here at B, but they've been forced out. That Molotov just halting all progress through the connector, and Alternate Attacks still have to hold out for about another 50-odd seconds. But as that train rolls through, they need to start making something happen there. Dead Fox does find the trade to Kazuya in short, and again, this is just hesitation coming out from Orgless. They do have the man advantage and start streaming onto this B side. That Molotov is just going to prevent and split the teammates up there. Unfortunately, Dead Fox only had 13 HP and really couldn't commit to making it through that Molotov, so it actually split the 2 remaining members up as Whitten does fall down, and now Dead Fox on 13 HP and goes one-on-one with Kiev. That grenade should be the end. As Kiev actually sends the grenade in, doesn't do any damage other than 1 HP, darts around the bomb box, and somehow Orgless win that round, despite it being one of the most, I guess, disorganized and sloppy rounds we've seen yet.
They just won the round. They're second for the match. But let's not sugarcoat it. That was actually really horribly played there from Orgless. Like you said, the keyword for me was hesitation. They were in a 3-on-2 situation at one point there. They had about 35 to 40 seconds left on the clock and potentially suspected that the CT defense was split up, and yet they were still just casually strolling to the site one at a time. I think they were quite fortunate, actually, to get away with that round. You can see Maeve there ever so slightly missing out on spotting the head of Kiev, who was jumping up and down trying to get that AWP spot, but Even rounds they're winning, they're making it look really difficult at the moment. Barbar can afford to have that AK, perhaps not his preferred weapon. We've seen him use that ult to great effect so far tonight. In some rounds at least, Keeve does take him down and hasn't yet connected on his second shot. He's got plenty of opponents to choose from, doesn't he? In the end, it will be he himself who goes down. Dead Fox doing a good job of taking down Kazua as well. So finally some life coming out from Orgless. They will move their way onto the A side. Tizian doing his best to try and slow them down and halt their progress. Does drop the first eventually. I might have to retract that statement, but with the 30th bullet connects onto the head of Dead Fox. But again, Jim, that hesitation. You can see that there was really no one there to support Dead Fox, and they've opted to go back towards the B site now.
Right, and that Molotov will actually stream into the site, and whilst it takes a lot of damage there, he's not able to get a frag. Witten does get that bomb down up towards B, and now Tizian has to go 1-on-2 as a result. Throws his pistol, hoping that someone was around the corner, but that Molotov is just going to delay him even further. So, well played here at the moment by Orgless, but we've seen them lose these sorts of situations before, and they're going to need to communicate quite well, as Tizian's position surely is known by now. Flash would have the crucial information as that smoker goes into short. Masking himself quite well, playing this quite well, Orgless, and they need this round as Tizian does the dance, but he's not going to pick up too much more other than that one frag onto Flash, and is forced to retreat. Witten wins the round and saves his AK there. Orgless do find an important third round.
And for the first time in this map, we've actually now seen alternate attacks in a position in which they're struggling on a financial standpoint. Struggling to the extent that not every player is going to have a rifle this round. You can see that they've managed, which is very positive to see from their perspective, to get an AWP into the hands of Keeve. He's been their go-to man all night. And that might also counteract the fact that they've got two players on pistol when they've got him with an AWP in hand. Barbar does take his AWP towards B this time. A little bit more aggression coming out as opposed to hiding behind the stairs near the A fountain. He actually gets there before the CTs with the timing of it and the spawn that he did have, and wanting to try and exploit that. You can see the T's though, they're not rushing themselves. We haven't seen any sort of aggression from them all night to suggest that they would, unless they're on their CT side, in which case we saw too much aggression, ironically. But at the moment, Jim, what can they make of this round?
Well, they are going to stream up towards the park here. Crispy is going to be asked to end with only a deagle here. He has a decent position, but very close to finding the frag onto Witten. He tries to get himself into the garden bed and have to ask his teammate for a boost because he can't seem to do it himself.
No.
Crispy is
Surely
ready and
not.
waiting.
This is tier 2/tier 1 CS,
Not too
right?
sure what's going on here. So they are going to make their way through. Kazuya does find the frag onto Maven. Barbar is going to look for a reply. Actually flicks onto Kazuya. They are going to stream down this connector towards this B site. So that B site defense again is going to be tested here from alternate. Molotovs are raining in. Stefan tags one with a deagle. Looks for the second frag here onto Witten. Not able to do so just yet. Witten actually finds a frag onto him. Crispy though on the flank, cleaning up. And again, Orgless just, as you said, hesitating, looking completely like they are lacking organisation.
Just trying to gather my breath. What was another disappointing performance from Orgless, I think, is the fairest assessment I can make. I don't like to hammer on and try and, I guess, pound teams too much with my commentary, but I think it's fair to say it has been disappointing from them. It looks like alternate attacks recognise the importance of tonight's match. They know that they have everything to play for. They've got 2 matches remaining, including tonight. They must win them both to keep their season's hopes alive, and they're playing like they recognise that so much is on the line. They are on T-side now, and Crispy does a good job of spotting out the big toe of Barbar, forced to retreat, but does have a teammate alongside him in the form of Flash, who does a good job of actually getting that first kill, but more importantly, taking the focus away from Barbar himself, which allowed him to step back out, gets 2 frags, and Team Orgless, good pistol round here as they now find themselves with just 1 man left to contend with.
Right, and he is making his way. This is the start that they need, Orgless, as they find that pistol round. Last headshot there onto Kazuya. And need to start building some bank here, momentum and confidence, because as you said, they've looked completely at odds with not only their team play, but themselves. They are quite skilled players, but really haven't looked like they've had any direction.
Look at this buy that they've actually invested into on the second round from a CT perspective. They've actually got 5 rifles, 4 for masses, 1 M4A4. Really conservative approach. Obviously, you see some teams opting to try and get that SMG money bonus, but these guys, I think, are that desperate for rounds that they're just trying to make sure of it in the here and now, not worried about the future. And whilst that might be good for this round, as they do have 2 frags, perhaps later on down the track, they might be, I guess, begging for that extra Skrilla that could have been coming their way had they actually invested into the more riskier, but potentially more rewarding weaponry in the sense of SMGs and I'm not sure, MP7s, MP9s, you take your pick of choice. In the end, they hit that round clean, but really interesting and, in my mind, questionable play. I think that their best chance back into this match is potentially break the economy of alternate attacks, and then by doing so, bolster their own economy.
I think also, too, it was the fact that Orgless were playing very passive positions using the distance of those rifles as well. So, again, the SMGs, you really need to be a little bit closer. And they're not confident in taking those duels at the moment because they're simply being completely outplayed by alternate across the map. So it worked for them. They do now see alternate on just a pistol buys and grenade. Does a lot of damage there into short. Whitten will be reaping the rewards of that hopefully soon, as that smoke just delays the inevitable even further. ATACs though are going to boost, and Whitten does get one bulleted there by Kazuya. And that's one for the highlight reel. Now, unexpectedly, we'll be playing in this 4 versus 5.
You said that distance was providing a safety net for the CTs. I'm not quite sure if that proved to be the case for poor old Whitten there at Heaven, as he was decapitated by Kazuya, as it was. As Dead Fox actually names Baba, so I don't know what's going on at the moment. We spoke about the team chemistry not quite there for all of us. Well, they're not having a good time of things, and it's Crispy rips their head off Flash. All of a sudden, worst case scenario is just eventuated. The bomb will get planted. Now, bear in mind, as Dead Fox does convert onto a terrorist, mind you, in this instance, that's much better from him. There are a few members of Alternate who are quite hurt. You can see there's just 2 surviving members, Stefan and Kazuya. Stefan, though, his positioning is on point, but he doesn't convert with the frag. I've got no idea what we've just witnessed. My hands are on my head. I'm not. You take it away.
What is this round? What are we witnessing?
I'm done.
That's it. Signing off.
Australians are out of here.
But that was a very, very interesting round.
Is that NA Counter-Strike, Jim? Is that how would you refer to that?
Perhaps, yeah. Perhaps they've exposed themselves a little bit too much to NA Counter-Strike.
They've been watching preparing for the MLG Columbus offline qualifier that's coming up this week. But in all seriousness, that was a little bit of chaos thrown into the mix, which is nice because we've seen some really, I guess, slow, seemingly methodical play all night. So why not have a little bit of spice thrown into the mix? Good work there by the players, keeping us entertained. Team kills, 1Bs with the deed, it was all happening. And we do see on this first gun round, it will be Tizio. A nice little boost there, actually rate that. Peeking above the smoke, catching Dead Fox off guard in an angle that he wasn't expecting. So his teammate in the form of Maeve will actually now back off, and he's the solo A defender at the moment, so a lot of responsibility on his shoulders here.
They're going to make their way. Alternate now. They do have a man advantage and a little bit of territory, so they start to take it there, but that man advantage is wiped away by Maeve, and he needs to retreat here because compromised position. Supported a little bit by teammates, and well, good flash there, allowing him to find another frag before he's taken down. So the trades are coming out. It is a 3 versus 3. Bit of pressure being applied to the A site here. That bomb is on point with Stefan as he needs to try and find another entry here onto this site. But get the impression, though, Alternate are waiting for the counter-terrorist to make the next move, to make a mistake. Key, oh, timing is key, and unfortunately, just staring at him through the smoke there. Great work from Baba. Defending the site, finds a second one as well. We'll need to find the third here. And Kiev, unfortunately, not able to do too much from his position. He is now revealed himself to the counter-terrorists. And you would expect, with 20 seconds left on the clock, it is a very difficult job for him to do to try and win this round, as he's a long way away from that bomb.
Great work though by Whitten and Barber. Whilst Whitten actually didn't get a frag, I really like the way that he got into that A site very quickly as Maeve was taking that duel. Obviously, he threw that nice support flash, which allowed Maeve to get a kill. But then just really held down that site until Barber was able to rotate with that Orphan, who made a few, I think, 6 shots there at close range, shotgun style. So great work there by those 2 players. The Swedish duo proving their worth, and all of a sudden, Alternate again find themselves seemingly on the back foot in the second half. This is just the first map repeating itself. We commented about the fact that we'd like to see potentially Alternate taking that next step on their journey as a team and being able to get those shutout victories. But at the moment, again, this match is just now seemingly drawing on and on and on a bit. They find themselves on a quasi-bye here, so they've got that AWP in the hands of Kiev and Jalil and Stefan, but the rest of the players will have to make do with pistols.
They are just going to be Molotoved and grenaded out from trying to take any sort of advanced position here towards that B site. So Molotovs are going to stream in. They're going to make their way through the connector, through construction, and try and get across that bridge. That bomb will go down, but Flash, great position there. Great pivoting on a dime as he finds two frags quite quickly, and Baba does find another frag there onto Stefan, and quickly things have turned with poor old Kiev forced to retreat and save that AWP because there's really no hope for him of defending this bomb site. They know his position, they know he's getting away, and they're going to continue to pursue him here. It is a bit of a fugitive scenario as he's needing to try and save that AWP from the incoming terrorists.
Jim, no one's defusing the bomb!
Actually, what is going on?
Jim, is it anyone on the bomb? Okay, Barbar's just got on the bomb. I was having a heart attack for a second as I watched the overlay. And every single CT for a moment there was actually charging after the escaping Kiev. I nearly had a heart attack. In the end, Barbar just got on the bomb in time, but for a moment there, dearie me.
What did we watch?
Entertaining Counter-Strike. You can see the alternate though. I mean, this is getting interesting now. We can see Orgless, they do have that economy now. They do have two AWPs, one in the hands of Dead Fox, their primary AWPer, one in the hands of Barbar, their secondary AWPer, ex-1.6 player who actually shines during the latter years of 1.6. And this is just a much more promising position for them to be in now because they're controlling the economy. You can see they're also controlling the pace. Alternate, crucially, are showing signs of what we saw from Orgless in the first half, just jumping up and down, really hesitant to almost move out of spawn because they're not sure where the AWP is positioned. And with Dead Foxes connecting with shots like that, it's no wonder why there's a little bit of hesitation coming into the game of attacks now.
First time we've seen Dead Fox pick up an AWP all night, other than when he picked up an AWP as a result of fragging someone, but does take the shot there. Doesn't quite connect, and Alternate are just sitting here in mid. Maybe does tag down Kiev. Escapes with his life. He's got his teammate there with him in support as he now has to fall back towards his ace up. The smokes do come in. Dead Fox though, how aggressive is he with that AWP? Does miss his shots, unfortunately. Does fall quite quickly in that A site, and now Witten jumping over those bomb boxes, over the smokes there. Does find a triple frag from here. Great work as he does actually burn the last member Kiev alive. So the roast is real with Witten here at the A site, picking up a 4-piece. And as we said before, this is what we didn't find so convincing from Alternate after their good half, was that they are bleeding rounds on this side.
It also seems to me as though that prospect of losing 2-0 in horrible fashions almost just ignited Orgless here in the second half as they're now all of a sudden supporting their teammates well. Some sick kills coming out. We saw Dead Fox there with that nice AWP shot, even though it was only a 1k. It was still a really sick reaction shot. Whitson doing a great job with the 4k to seal the deal, and all of a sudden the early frags, the tempo is being set now by this mixed nationality team and the likes of Orgless. And some life finally coming out from them. We've been begging for this all night, and it's unfortunate that it's only now at this point in the final half. Barber there with a sick shot as well, and whilst he's flashed, he had the intent to go for the second kill. Fits and beats him to the punch ultimately with those two final kills, and Orgless now gets to double digits, 12-10. The deficit is ever so narrow now.
They are narrowing that deficit, as we said. This is exactly what happened on the first map, on Cache. They bled the rounds, and Alternate, after such a good first half, are yet to find a round here in the second half. So, just struggling a little bit on their terrorist sides. At least on Overpass. It wasn't so much the case on the first map. But a very slow approach to this round as Barber actually finds the opening frag, and he's been instrumental. Orgless here is finds reply onto Maeve. And now things start to slow down, things start to break down, but counter-terrorists, more importantly here at A, they're not relinquishing their position, they're still holding very much forward.
Yeah, they're holding that toilet position that you talk of. It is Barbar there who now actually rotates to try and get a spot onto A long, and potentially hears a few footsteps and doesn't quite connect there as he misses onto Yuzua, and ultimately he's under a lot of pressure now to try and make ends meet as he's punished, put to death there by Yuzua, and Yuzua does double up. Great work there, taking down both AWPers, mind you, so a big gamble there from Orgless, having both their AWPers in the same choke point. Flash trying to recover the situation. He has dropped the bomb. So at some point, alternate attacks are going to need to retreat and backtrack to where they once were and recover that bomb. Quitten does spot out Stefan, so things not going right for the Germans at the moment. Even in a 4-on-2 round, they're still finding ways to get caught off guard. Quitten and Flash now find themselves in a 2-on-2 situation. Flash does have that bomb in his presence, and 2 TST and 10 with drops the first. Keep goes down, spots the second. Great work there by Flash. Great work by Orgless. Not willing to die. They keep their fight going. 12-11. They're nearly at the same petting as alternate now.
That's right. They seemingly just dropped that bomb in such a compromising position. Flash played that so well. He was up against 2 terrorists, and well, I think the pressure of the situation is getting to Orgless because take a toilet break.
That's never a good sign if that's the case. If that's the actual justification, that's never good. I think though, I mean, if we look at the scoreboard, it's been 8 rounds in a row this half. More importantly as well, if you look at the context of the entire match, actually Orgless have actually won 10 of the past 11 rounds, extending into the first half, but all of a sudden, alternate attacks seemingly can't buy a frag, and they look so tentative on the T side. I've been particularly surprised in the last 2 or 3 gun rounds when we've actually seen them head towards that A fountain area. No big surprise, but seemingly just stall their progress and stand around so tentative about that CT push. We said that Overpass was a map that lent itself to that AWP aggression really well. So many different angles to pick, and they're getting punished by Barbar and Dead Fox at the moment.
They're just being absolutely handed their own skulls on a platter because Barbar is just starting to hit some shots, starting to get more confident as the rounds go by. He's having more and more of an impact too, and I think that's key in the fact that his frags are opening up these rounds. So when an AWPer grows in confidence like that, particularly one of Barbar's experience, it can be a difficult thing to deal with, and that's exactly what alternate are struggling with right now, just dealing with that AWPer Barbar.
Something curious that I've actually noticed in the CT setup is despite that aggression towards the A side, which is rather normal, they're actually still committing 2 to sometimes even 3 CTs to that aggression. Normally the standard approach from a CT team is potentially just to send one AWPer or one man trying to get that spot at party and get that aggressive play, but stack the rest of the team towards the B side, which really would be the sites in which the terrorist team would be funneled towards if they don't contend at A. But as it is, it looks as though alternate are really just walking into that heavily fortified A side. I'd like to see them perhaps recognise the fact that there's so many defenders there positioned in that sort of party area or even toilet area, and actually go towards the B side with a little bit more haste.
Look, I hate to cite one of our former teammates' research here, but they just took a toilet break. Obviously, one of the members of Orgless were needing to go to the toilet. That's why they actually took that pause. They're going to unpause now. He's emptied his bladder. Apparently, research shows that apparently you make better decisions when you have a full bladder. Will that affect the next few rounds? Because now he has an empty bladder. Orgless have been making good decisions. Now that he's emptied that bladder, will he struggle to make good decisions in key rounds? I'm not too sure who the player is, but...
Well, I think in any case, what we've just proven is that alternate attack should run away with this victory now. I think the evidence is damning in this case. So, unfortunately for Orgless, that was a massive misplay, their first misplay of the half, but I'd be curious to actually see that research. I'm not quite sure if I believe it to be the case, knowing who is the man doing the research in this instance. He has a shady character history himself, so I'd need to see it to believe it. Maybe they're just confirming for everyone's sake that it was a toilet break, just again highlighting the error that they did make, the error of their ways, just showing it to the world here, but I'm not sure.
Well, I hope so. I hope that research is disproven here today in this Canopit match. But look, no, it wasn't a tactical pause at all, but potentially that could be a momentum shift as well, because the matches, as we said, taking a pause. Momentum is playing a big factor in the way that Orgless are playing. I mean, not just obviously their bladder, but in terms of the rounds that they've won. As you said, they've won 10 out of the last 11 rounds. That, for me, is a massive momentum shift.
I think just to clarify, I think it actually was a tactical pause from alternate attacks. I think Orgless just utilised that opportunity to run to the toilet, but I'm just questioning whether perhaps we're dissecting too much about the toilet
Tactical
behaviours of
toilet pause.
Orgless in this instance. Maybe not. Maybe we should keep talking about this, I'm not sure. But in any case, I think it was potentially a tactical pause coming out there from alternate. In any case, that momentum breaker that you spoke of. So now, as the match is resumed, we'll see if alternate do have an answer to this aggression from Orgless.
Stefan talking about bratwurst with sauerkraut is making me really hungry, by the way. Just thought I'd add that in. It is about breakfast time, but things are back underway here. Alternate, just, again, a very slow start. That smoke just making them cautious as to checking all the angles here. Dead Fox, though, does have a little bit of information. Won't take a little bit of damage. He does know that the terrorist side have taken Fountain, have taken toilet control, and as a result, Crispy now actually have connected control as well. So, very slow, methodical approach this round from alternate. And of course, they don't want to surrender the lead that they've had for almost the entire match.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they keep persisting with A though. It's been the A side in which they've continually been shut down by the ops of Dead Fox mostly, and also Barbar at times, depending on which side he's been holding at. But clearly, I think that's where they feel more comfortable. That's about the only explanation that I can have at the moment. We do see that the CTs have rotated Witten back to support them as well. So all of a sudden, there's 3 CTs on A, and the Ts will find themselves up against a well-fortified unit should they move up towards that side at the time being. We do see the bomb actually and one of his teammates at long. The other 3 moving their way up mid right now and just lining out those smokes. They've been watching those YouTube videos very, very closely. They've got it pixel perfect, ironically, against a team who used to represent Pixel Fire. And we'll see how it now goes for them. Tizian does get that first frag onto Dead Fox now, and the smokes and flashes do rain in. Good work there by Tizian, the young entry fragger for the team, but can he convert? No, he can't, as all of a sudden Maeve explodes in a ball of fire, ripping the heads off 4 members. Converts there onto Kazura at the end, and the elevation by standing on top of the bomb box allowed him a perfect vantage point to the oncoming terrorist attack. Great individual play there. Not for the first time in this half. We've really given a lot of credit to Orgless for making that individual play and locking down a bomb site. This time it was Maeve. 12 all to score. Alternate, really the panic bells and the alarm noises are going off. Yes, it is a panic bell, just to confirm.
It's insane.
Absolutely insane from Maeve. As he just made it work, and now this is the first time these teams have been level other than the pistol round. So Team Orgless, again, through Barbar, have opened things up. They are on a bit of a force fire here as a result. The Tech 9s and the Deagles, and it's not working for them at the moment. They are just being bullied around this map by Orgless, and Orgless seemingly have woken up. A tactical toilet pause really affected them at all. Tizian does find the frag there onto Dead Fox, so whittling away at that man deficit, 4 versus 3 now. Barbar, though, finds another frag in this round. He's triple so far, and has really been instrumental in orchestrating this Orgless comeback.
He's now up to 23 frags on the scoreboard and has done a fantastic job in the second half in particular of, I guess, resurrecting his team's chances. Crispy and Tizian are the last 2 surviving members, and Tizian has been able to recover an M4A4, but up against a CT outfit that's hitting their shots at the moment, it would be a tough ask, you'd have to imagine in this instance. They have 40 seconds left and they're creeping their way up inch by inch towards that A bomb site. Even Al Pacino would be impressed with the way alternate attacks are handling themselves in this 2-on-4 situation, but it's only a matter of time, you have to say, until they are spotted out, and Barbar and Maeve eventually seal the deal. Great work by Orgless, and for the first time in this match, and I think almost for the first time tonight, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, Orgless Warriors have taken a lead in one of the matches.
This is their first lead in any of the maps that they've played tonight, so Orgless on the verge of what we didn't think that they would be capable of doing after seeing that first half slaughter. Now alternate are the ones that are actually with their backs to the wall, so let's just see if they are going to have their mettle tested and whether they're going to be found wanting, because at the moment run of momentum is all with Orgless. It's a very, very passive approach. Alternate, they are just taking their time and really cautious.
You see that the reaction here from the terrorists when they're losing these rounds time after time after time is that they almost go back into their shell even more. This round they're almost even being more tentative and more afraid to show their presence and to take those duels where, in the context of the entire night, that's what had been winning the matches. They've been winning aim duel after aim duel after aim duel. But now they've gone away from that completely. I'd like to see them perhaps in hindsight when they look back at this match, react differently when the pressure was getting applied. Instead of perhaps changing the pace, maybe change the site, head towards B instead of A, take control of mid connector early on. Maybe even just try and use something other than the AWP to open up rounds. Maybe just change the style at which they're playing. At the moment, though, they've gone into their shell, and Orgless are reaping the rewards.
They are, and now it looks as though they are going to try and concentrate their attack onto this B site, the ultimate site, funnily enough. So that attack coming through. Tizian is getting hooked up into this. Zulu finds the open frag onto the B site, but the smokes are locking him out. They need to deal with Flash, though. He does find a second and a third as well. Great work from him, preventing that bomb from going down. Whitten finding the last frag, and Orgless inching closer to that match point. I would be interested to see whether or not A, take a pause, or B, try and buy into this round. They're doing the latter and actually buying in despite not having a optimal set of weaponry.
Oh, I don't know how alternate attacks have thrown this away. Orgless have won 13 of the past 14 rounds, and attacks just look like a shadow of the former selves as they've almost changed up their gameplay entirely. I like the fact that at least this round, they're moving with a little bit more impetus towards that B site. You can see 4 members there. Tizian leading the charge. He does get taken down by Barbar though, so the CT still finding a way to win the duels. Great double kill. Can he get the third? Not quite, but he does spot out Stefan. Tags him down a little bit too hungry there from Flash to get that frag as he does charge to his death. All of a sudden, a little bit of a door has opened up now for attacks to make something of this. Keeve on the lurk. Actually calling, I think, for his teammates to rotate back towards that A site because he's been able to gather so much map territory for himself and only has one CT in the form of Dead Fox, 50-10 with. As it is, though, Dead Fox wins that duel, spots out the head of Stefan, now calls for that rotation himself. So, all to do here for Stefan. And as the round does end, Whitten finds the headshot and sets up 3 match points here for Orgless.
Well, Alternate have only got themselves to blame in this because they have not been able to find any answers in the second half and really break this Orgless defense. Barber opens up again. He's just having complete free range in this map. As, unfortunately, he's not able to find another frag, and he will unfortunately be forced to sit out the remainder of this round. And now Orgless will go 4-on-4 against Team Alternate. That bomb is just making its way around the connector as Dead Fox does find another frag here on A, and they are going to try and find a reply. Crispy able to do so, takes a bit of damage while doing so, and Alternate just setting themselves up to into a holding pattern here. Orgless are just ready and waiting though in that A site.
3 surviving members for each team. They are moving towards A, like he said, and they have the bomb in hand. It's on the back of Crispy at the moment, the in-game leader, and I think he has more than just the bomb. I think he has his team's hopes on his back as they move towards that site. Need this round to really continue in this match, up against 3 match points, but it's been Maeve that has the answer this round. He's got 2, suspects potentially that third member of the former Tizian is at long. He throws a flash, a defensive flash towards that choke point, actually positions himself in a more cautious manner towards that bomb at the moment, and all of a sudden Tizian has it all to do, and he can't do that as quick as a flash, pun intended. Team Alternate have thrown away what was certainly a sure victory at 12-3 up. They've lost what was ultimately 15 of the last 16 rounds in the match.